He's my Valentine. So happy Valentine's a day coming up pretty soon. And it is a holiday celebrated worldwide in different countries. Not all countries, but a lot of different countries do celebrate it. So it's good to find activities and resources to celebrate it. Everybody loves love and romance, but we'll talk about different topics. I'm Shelly Terrell, and every Friday we are here. It's absolutely free. You can get a certificate. In fact, it's already up there if you go to the bit.ly ELT links address there. You'll be able to download a certificate from American TESOL. So you're welcome to bring friends, and you'll get the resources at the end of the presentation. So Valentine's Day, I'm going to divide this in activities like lesson ideas, and then also resources, just kind of fun websites and things like that. There's many more that I could mention. I had to kind of narrow it down a bit. There's lots of topics you can explore during Valentine's Day. So you actually could take the entire month of February and relate it to different topics. You can explore romance. You can explore kindness, relationships, personal passions, what's also called passion-based learning. Angela Myers talks about that a lot. She has lesson plans where students, whatever their interests are, if they like basketball, if they like sports, if they like writing, art, that the lessons revolve around that. So now is a good time to talk about different types of love, which is good for our students to talk about, to differentiate love for oneself, esteem, or maybe love for family and in relationships. So so these are different things we can do. You can also, it's a great time to explore love portrayed and these different things portrayed in writing, art, and music. And there's so many resources around that as well. So you could go to Film English or designer lessons, and any of those will have some great made lesson plans that have to deal with different ways that love is expressed in art and things like that. They have videos with them a lot of times too, and in film. Here's me and Roscoe. But I really like this quote. I think that one of the good things about Valentine's Day is that you're able to really help the students to take time away and show them something that's going to be very useful in life, which is exploring the definition of different love, romance. But there's a lot of interesting things that happen. My students, we used to play speed dating games, and they absolutely loved it, the adult students. Now, that's something that I would do with adults, but it's a good time for kids to make Valentine's Day cards. They can make different types of crafts. They can send nice I love you cards to friends and family. And so these are the things we're going to talk about. So we're going to go ahead and talk about different activities. The first activity is to analyze different love quotes. I actually took some that I thought were very interesting. So the next slide, I'm going to show you two quotes from Einstein and the other quote from Dr. Seuss. And these are both very educational. They're very educational, but they're also very smart and intelligent. So it's kind of funny to see what they have to say about Valentine's Day. So I was surprised. You might be surprised as well. Einstein says gravitation is not responsible for people falling in love, which is kind of a way of Einstein joking. So I thought that was really clever. And then the next one from Dr. Seuss says, you know you're in love when you can't fall asleep because reality is finally better than your dreams. So this is a nice romantic side of Dr. Seuss, who's usually the cat in the hat and rhymes and things like that. One of the things that happens is when you teach with quotes like I do, I tend to choose quotes myself. That's how I've always done that. And I cut them in strips of paper. And one of the reasons I do that is because that way I can look at the language within the quotes and I can see if maybe it's too much for the students. But cutting up different quotes is really good for English language learners. It chunks the language, so it gives them pieces of, it's not a whole entire paragraph or a whole entire essay. Quotes are very easy to understand. And there's a lot of really fun ones out there. Now, here's a couple activities you can do with that. We had another presentation about quotes, so you can always reference that one as well. But here is one of the ideas. This is called jigsaw, and you can do this with several different types of lesson plans, but you cut the quotes into strips of paper. Each student will actually hold that piece of paper with the quote. So give them time to read it and ask any questions for understanding as well, so that way they understand the gist of it. And then create corresponding strips that have part of the quote or describe the person who said it. So you can have this as a matching game is basically what it is. One part has like Einstein, Dr. Seuss, and then the other part has the quote. So you can do it any way you want. You can also give clues to the quote or describe it or put it in modern terms or shorten it, paraphrase it, have the students paraphrase all of the quotes, and then you can type that up and then you can give that as the jigsaw. So the students find their matches. They have a lot of fun because they get to walk around and they get to try and find a partner. So it's really good for establishing student relationships as well. The next activity is to analyze the way love is portrayed in poetry, art, music, and literature. And one of the reasons for that is because sometimes that's one of the hardest things that our students struggle with, which are sonnets. So this is a good time to actually teach sonnets from Shakespeare. And I've bookmarked a bunch of resources so that way you'll be able to show your English language learners the best way to approach Shakespeare, because that can be quite difficult. There's also different types of art and music and literature that you can explore. So earlier someone said that they were going to, I think it was Manuela, or were you the one who said you were going to use a music video, you were going to use a certain song with your students for Valentine's Day to explore. So that's always a good idea, and you can do the same kind of ideas when you've taught with a YouTube video before. These are some of the things you can do. But you can also have them do very simple templates. So types of poems that your students would be very good at, and even good for beginners, is a haiku form. If you have the haiku form, then it's really simple because it's just syllables. They don't have to rhyme or anything, and they can come up with some really fabulous different types of haikus and different types of rhymes, limericks, all kinds of things. But here's a really easy one. I don't know if you've heard this famous poem before. The roses are red, violets are blue. So this is a quick, easy thing that you can do with your students. You can do this with adult students. You can do this with young students. So you have them create these poems. Roses are red, violets are blue. And so they're able to understand that language. It's a template, and they just basically fill in the rest of the poem. So if you want something quick and easy, this is one thing that you can do. Another great site out there so you can create this poetry is magneticpoetry.com play. So the students will actually be able to click on any of these words, and then they make the title. They actually have a whole entire section dedicated to love and romance. So you can even have them go to, they have different types of word magnets for word magnet kit. So on this one you see it says Love Magnetic Poetry Kit. There's so many different ones they have out there. I think they have a nature one. I'm sorry about that. There's a really great site called the Poetry Idea Engine, and it actually, once you click play, it'll walk the students through this wonderful tutorial, and it walks with them. It's an interactive. So the fox will give different types of text that he and sometimes talks as well through the computer, and so it'll type the students into how to write anything, how to write a limerick, how to write a haiku poem, and it asks them these questions so they understand the process as well. So I definitely recommend the Poetry Idea Engine. It's just fantastic. One of the great things about Valentine's Day is candy. You get lots of good, delicious treats. And so the great thing about it is that you can, when you do this, then you'll be able to eat them as well. So one of the things that you can do a lot of times maybe you play charades, but sometimes your students are quite nervous. Well, here's a great time to play charades because this is called candy heart charades. So basically they have the candy hearts. They grab one of them. They have to act that out for their classmates to guess. And then the incentive is after they guess, they get to eat it. So they'll love it. They'll love to participate with it as well. They can even practice writing their own candy heart inscriptions. And maybe you can even look, you can actually make candy that has this written in them that they came up with. Here's another activity having to do with candy hearts. So in this particular one, the student will actually grab 5 of the hearts, and then you tell them you have to write a poem, a song, or a dialogue that includes these 5 different statements or words, because you'll see that a lot of them, this one says my hero, and sometimes they're a bit cheeky. I guess it's the best way to say, where they're kind of joking around. Another activity is to send messages of kindness to your classmates. I actually got this from a professor when I was going to college. He would have us cut out strips of paper and we would write. The only way this works is if every student writes a nice message to their fellow classmate. Now, they can say something like, I think you're a very hard worker. You're really great at running. You're really great at sports. They have to come up with a kind statement for each and every student. And then when they do that, when they write these, they can hide them in the Valentine's Day cards that they have. And the great thing about this is it really helps at cyberbullying and develop relationships and things like that. And you can even talk about the history of Valentine's Day. Does anybody know a little about the history of Valentine's Day? Well, it's actually from a martyr. That means that there was a saint and he died. And one of the reasons why he was Saint Valentine, I know I'm not pronouncing that right, but he would have, he would perform weddings in private. And then he wasn't supposed to, so they so then he was a martyr. But you can kind of use his example to explore the history of it, but to also say he was a very kind individual. He believed, in this and that, and it's a great kind of introduction as well. And the kids, they love this. Sometimes they'll keep that button forever. And so there are a lot of crafts out there. If you just Google Valentine's Day, you can make little books. I like the simple Valentine's Day cards where they put something quite nice, like "Be My Valentine." And if they put the different types of messages in there, then it's really a great kind of fun experience that they can switch their Valentines and they'll have messages there as well within them. But they can always do this with paper. There's origami sites that you can look up and they'll show you how to make a paper heart and all kinds of things. So these are some ideas. The next idea is to analyze pickup lines. Now, teenagers will love this because there's a whole bunch of really cheesy pickup lines out there. Something like, was your dad a thief because he stole the stars in the sky and put them in your eyes? So that's kind of cheesy pickup lines that are there. So your students will just laugh and laugh and they'll try to figure out. A lot of times these pickup lines are, they're very cultural. They're very, they also have phrasing that's good to bring up when it has been made up. These are phrases, so there are a lot of times they have to understand the joke behind it. You can teach a lot of different idioms right now for Valentine's Day. So there's tons that I bookmark on love, on romance, on friendship, all kinds of different things as well for you. This is one of them. I actually saw this on grammar.net. It's an infographic, so it's this big poster on there online, and it actually tells you some of the idioms, and I like how it illustrates it as well. So you can get your students to do a lot of things. They can, for example, have conversations where they bring up this idiom. They can use different tools to have this dual conversation after they try and understand them. They can create a book of idioms that they personally draw themselves, and then they'll know, they'll have this resource. But I really like it. You have head over heels, to have a crush, to get hitched. Does anybody know what to get hitched means? To get back together, to find Mr. and Mrs. Right, blind date, 3 little words. So there's quite a bit of things that you can find there. So you may be asking, well, what am I going to do with, you can create a book of idioms, but you can also do something simple like create a cartoon. There are so many cartoon tools out there, but I really like the characters in ToonDo. So you can see one that somebody did over there. It's like, oh, Maisie. And he's like, hi, Jacqueline. And he's like, I was wondering, do you want to go out with me? And she says, sorry, I'm taken. So your kids will get very, very creative, and they'll enjoy including an idiom or a conversation. You can even use this for the pickup lines, where you have, there's different characters, but you'll have the bear, basically in this one, he may be asking a question like, will you want to go on a date with me or something, but it could be something that they come up with, as long as it fits the theme. There's a really good video tool out there, and it has Valentine's Day background, which is why I put this up there. Now, the thing about Devolver is I think it's much better with high school students because there is things that might be questionable. For example, there is a character that has a bikini or something like that. But it's a really good tool. You can make great movies, and they come out like this. They're just basically... they're just they have so many different scenes. You have the characters. Now this isn't really, you can choose music, you can change different things. It's really great process. So it's goanimate.com. Is also another video tool that you would like. Now the thing about Devolver is that you can type up your message. You can't speak your message. You can only type it up, and then it'll be read for you. So with GoAnimate, the great thing about GoAnimate is you can have more than one character, so they can carry a dialogue, and it's really easy for your students to craft that. If you want them to come up with the dialogue first, that's usually what I do, and then I have them work together to try and correct their errors before they put it on one of these tools. But the great thing is it has different backgrounds as well. You basically select your characters. And then after you select your characters, you can type or record your dialogue. And this is GoAnimate, which is different than the previous tool we had. And that's it. We do have, so it's very easy. You can see here that you have different types of accents as well. You can have it from the UK, you can have it from Scotland. So there are many different accents as well. Now you can decide to use your voice for those. So I do recommend GoAnimate. That's actually one of my favorite online tools. Jerry Cyberman always has plenty and plenty of resources. He has bookmarked so many, and he's just a great resource in general. So you may want to go and give that a look. Larry Filazzo is one of the top people in English language learning, and he published a book and has different websites, and so they're very good. But one of the things that he does is he does these best site series, Larry Filazzo, and so you can find tons of resources there specifically for language learners. This is one of the ones I found. So this is for actually 4 to 6 year olds. You can even do this a little bit younger, maybe early 4-ish. So this is great for the little kids. This is it shows them phonics, so they can see the little candy hearts, and they choose a beginning for the sentence. So it's really good. It makes this animation. The kids love it. It's very good for children. Now, here's a bunch of really good lesson ideas from Jamie Ketty and lessonstream.org. He actually has quite a few different lesson plans revolving around that. And this one, you can download it. It's absolutely free. Here, you can see drawings that were made in response to this lesson plan. So they actually draw out their comic, which is very interesting, I think. Okay, so Sue Lyon Jones of TESOL courses is really great about sharing different resources. So she has interactive web day activities, different songs. She has categorized it and stuff, and new featured lessons. And right now, there's 2 different types of lesson plans that Sue has there, and they're absolutely free. If you want to teach with YouTube, she has a lot of things that have to deal with YouTube. If you really like that tool. And there's also, of course, I couldn't leave the webinar without showing you a few very cool apps. So that's what I'm going to do now. I am going to show you some of the apps. One of the first ones is this kids finger painting Valentine's Day app. Now this is only for the iDevices, okay? So if you can get an app on your mobile device, then, well, probably just, you can have them draw. They can't add any voice, but you can have them draw, so it's really simple for them to do. For the younger learners, they get to paint, so that's really exciting. It looks really cool. Usually if you like have an iPad or a tablet or something like that, you can find these programs where they draw, they spell, and they have a good time. This is one of my all-time favorite apps. This is Talking Tom. I don't know if you remember him. It's one of my favorite apps to use with English language learners because they always talk in English when I bring Tom out this app. Talking Tom is really funny, but he's even funnier with Angela, his girlfriend. So you may see that this looks similar to Romeo and Juliet. Now, I would let you know ahead of time that sometimes it's very cheeky. So what you might want to do, and she's a bit aggressive, so throughout this experience, she continues to, I guess, dump him. She says really mean things. So Talking Tom actually speaks to Angela, and then she'll say something. He can give her gifts. He can have a text chat message going back and forth. And then these are Angela's options. You can actually throw a pot on him. So if she doesn't like what Tom has to say, she just throws a pot. And the kids love this. They speak English. It records the video, but it makes a funny sound when they're recording the video. I'm going to see if I actually have Talking Tom available. Now, the one that I have isn't the Angela one yet. But there are several other ones. Yes, we have it right here. Just so I can show you, because this is one of the I even had a class go and test this out, and they did really well. They only have one mobile device, so it went really well. Now this is Tom, and anything that Tom hears, like he hears you talking, he puts his ear out, and that's because Tom is going to repeat everything he says when I finish it. Now this is Tom, and anything that Tom hears, like he hears you talking, he puts his ear out, and that's because Tom is going to repeat everything he says when I finish it. Okay, so I put it back. So he's kind of funny in that way, and the kids love it. So I take that out and I say, well, you can, if you speak in English, you can record a little video on Talking Tom. They can email this video. It's only Tom talking, so it's very safe because it's not their face. It's Tom and it's Angela. Now, Tom and Angela are so in love, they even have where kids can go to the Angela's Valentine app. It's absolutely free. It's on iTunes. But Talking Tom and Angela is actually on Android devices as well, so it's on all platforms. But then there's Angela's Valentine's app. They have 2 music videos that Talking Tom and Angela did together, but they also allow students to send postcards online that are fun with, and this is kind of what they look like. There's another app that's called Tom's Love Letters to Angela, and this also is in the iTunes library. It's free, but it's not available for Android. So when you touch them, they can actually kiss. So I think these apps are more for like middle school to high school or above. I would be a good place to use these type of apps. Now you can use this app with even very young learners. I've used this app with my 4-year-olds. This is Photobabble. It's also an online resource as well. Basically, you record a picture or something. They have different templates, so you can see the different templates they have for Valentine's Day. Satin heart, paper heart, and candy hearts. So you have different options. You upload a picture, and then it records your voice, so you can talk about a lot of different things. Animoto is another great option for videos. So you can have the students, they can create a romantic video, or maybe you can have them act out scenes, idioms, and different things like that.